The following program is produced by the Tech Talk Radio Network.
Hey, folks, this is Sam Kinison, and you're listening to Tech Talk Radio right here. You understand that, you geek? Oh!
Welcome to another episode of Tech Talk Radio. I'm Andy Taylor.
I'm Sean DeWeird.
Thank you for being here. And I know Sean has had a very, very exciting couple of weeks. First off, you'll be able to watch the video of him walking around the show floor of the National Association of Broadcasters, the big NAB show. This is your first show that you went to, right?
So it's the first time I've went to this specific trade show for broadcast. Yeah. So it's an annual show they do in Vegas. It's the largest broadcasting trade show in the world.
Right.
I did a live chat with Andy while we were there. I was walking on just one of the buildings of the trade floor. So
yeah, they had stuff everywhere. And it was funny because, of course, broadcasting covers television, it covers radio, covers HD radio. Now it's covering the internet as well.
So it's interesting to see because I've been in the broadcasting. Andy, obviously, you've been in the broadcasting industry for radio since the early 80s.
Right.
I've been in broadcast television since the late 2009. So
yeah.
the late 2010s. And even from that time frame to now, it's changed.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is it's kind of a weird blending of prosumer and professional equipment because you have a lot of content creators that are doing large studio productions now.
Oh, yeah.
YouTube studios. I mentioned it to you in our call is that I got to network with so many great people. I got to meet a lot of the people that my boss has known for decades across the industry. And what was cool was we were meeting with one specific vendor when another guy came up and was talking to our vendor real quickly because he knew them. They went to college together.
Right.
But it was the lead. I don't remember what his title was, but like the lead content developer for Dude Perfect.
Oh, wow. Wow. That's pretty cool.
So, I mean, if you're listening to this and you don't know who Dude Perfect is probably one of the largest YouTube channels that exists based off of, the internet. Like they one of the largest YouTube channels that exists. So, they were there because they're looking for new equipment for a new facility they're building for their studio. They're building another large studio on their property for Dude Perfect.
For people, it had to be kind of eye-opening for you, for people who say, well, there's no money in broadcasting on YouTube. There's no money in, creating content. You find that to be absolutely, I mean, they're going to build a studio. And they were a YouTube creator.
So the dude, you have to put this into perspective, right? The Dude Perfect just started off as like three guys, right? Three guys doing a YouTube show. It blew up. Then they had enough money to build a 40,000 square foot studio.
Mm.
Now they're adding on an additional 40,000 square foot building that has sound stages and other sets, and they're developing and expanding their brand. So
wow.
They're there looking at vendors for who can provide the equipment. And I mean, it's from everything. It's from planning and execution, software for pre-production. It's equipment. It's integrators. It's the actual content you're creating. It's editing. It's post-production. It's lighting. It's sound. It's design. It's literally everything you need to have your entire production taken care of, you could get at NAB. And it's meeting with industry reps, it's
right.
meeting with vendors, it's meeting with your sales, the people that take care of you on the sales teams and stuff. I met more people that I've talked to on the phone or via email for the first time, which is great. And I met new people that I hadn't met.
It had to be kind of cool, Sean, because you do use a lot of gear, obviously for the games that they do at Notre Dame, where you're working and stuff. So this might be for you the first time actually reaching and meeting somebody that makes a tripod or makes a mount or makes the camera or makes something that you use in the production booth. That had to be kind of a cool experience.
Yeah, I got to talk to the people that make the products too, right? I got to talk to the product developers for our intercom system, for the guy that works on the lenses for Canon. It's like I got to talk to these people and get to know them and get to provide feedback to them, saying like, This is what we're using it for. This is a use case that we're using it for. This is why we like this product, and this is the feedback that we can give you on, our client's experience with your product, and that's all just the name of the game, right? It's just part of the business. It's part of why NAB is so great, is you get to meet with all these great people.
When it comes to products that really stood out, was there something that you saw at NAB that made you say, whoa, and maybe it's not even out yet, but it's going to be coming out? Because that's the neat thing about this show, that you said, oh, this is something we need to eventually get to help our workflow.
A lot of people went into NAB saying AI is going to be in your face.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It was there. It was prevalent. What you saw a lot in terms of AI was AI audio mixing, AI camera tracking,
Right.
and some AI editing tools. I mean, a lot of AI editing tools. The AI audio mixing is cool because you could simulate. There's a company called Salsa Sound.
Right.
They make a product where you provide it audio, and you map it out on basically, say, soccer, for example. That's what we're going to demo it for. You map it out and say, here's where this microphone is on the pitch. Here's where this one is. Here's where that one is. Here's where my announcers are. And you feed it the specific audio for those locations, and then it auto mixes as it follows the game.
Wow. Now that's pretty amazing.
As the ball goes to the left-hand side of the field, as the mics pick up more audio, it brings the mics on the right side of the field down and brings up the mics on the left side of the field. It auto mixes based on some vision AI, but also mostly just audio AI. Basically,
right.
The mics are quieter on the north end, so it's going to be loud. The play is actually happening on the south end. So, but it can gate, it can auto gate, it can limit, it can do all this stuff automatically.
Does that worry you though? I mean, let's face it. We talk about how cool AI is. We've used AI in different sources, different ways, but you have technical directors and I've worked in a TV studio before as well. They say take camera 1, take camera 2, take camera 3. And you're using multiple cameras. Will AI eventually be the one to choose? Like, hey, the ball is running down this way. We're switching to this camera.
So you say that. Ross is a company that provides tons of broadcast features across the industry. They're one of the largest in the industry. They demoed on stage a AI listening technical director.
Right. Ooh.
Where the CEO of Ross walked across the stage and was talking about the weather. And it not only did AI cutting in terms of cutting cameras, but it actually put in graphics. It put in, he talked about the weather. I'll have to look up the Ross 2025 NAB keynote.
Right.
I don't remember what they called it, what they called the specific product. But he was just talking about, well, let's take a look at the 7-day forecast. And it automatically changed the graphics, showed the 7-day forecast, and he could kind of just pick and choose what he wanted to say, and it would automatically change the scene.
Oh my gosh!
But it was also interpretive, so it could anticipate what he was going to talk about next, and it automatically changed the green screen graphics. It automatically changed the cameras. It was pretty wild.
Yeah,
I will say it was interesting to see. They showed a live output of the transcription. Man, did it get a lot of words wrong.
Did it really though? Yeah, that could be a
so
problem.
We're watching it side by side, like with what's happening versus what the AI is reading.
Right.
It didn't even get their own products right, which was kind of funny. But I mean,
yeah,
for that to be happening that fast in the cloud, and because it was all cloud based, was pretty impressive. Because last year they did demo a guy sitting at his desk, hands in the air, saying, all right, ready 1, cut 1, ready 2, cut 2, ready, and it was actually following along. So that's coming.
Yeah.
We know that's coming. Some more automation in terms of like the overdrive portion where a director goes in and they don't have a technical director. They just code the show based on camera shots and based on cues and things like that. And then they just hit the space bar and it moves forward. A lot of people don't realize that a lot of newsrooms are automated.
Yeah.
Like they don't have a technical director. They don't have an audio operator. and rarely do they even have camera operators in the studio anymore.
Oh, yeah.
They're all just locked off shots, or they have robotic heads that will turn and zoom, and even
Well,
some
you're not
have
talking.
robotic
You're not
pedestals.
talking about the talent. You're talking about the cameras with the robotic heads.
Right. It's not robotic, not robotic talent, even though some may seem robotic.
Yes.
But yeah, so a lot of automation, AI coming for that. But a lot of the AI focus was on camera tracking. So not only broadcast cameras, but just PTZ, pan tilt zoom cameras for, you put a camera up at the back of the room and it can focus on a subject and follow them, keep them in frame. You can then delegate one or two targets if you wanted, so they can say, if this person's not there, track this person. It's even getting to the point where they can say track player numbers and keep them in the middle of the frame.
Oh,
So
wow.
you can track. So you could have a medium to a wide shot tracking specific players.
Yep. Focus on the quarterback. Focus on
Yeah, focus. So based on facial recognition or player identification, things like that. So seeing a lot of that was pretty cool.
I will say this is kind of cool because when we first started doing the TV segments on KOLD and then KWBA, we did some stuff as well. It was cool because you always had somebody there on a pedestal camera that was, would zoom in. They had a second camera there. And you had camera operators. You had a floor director that would point to us and tell us, okay, you're on, and then they would give us the signal, 30 seconds, wrap it up. I took a break for a short period of time before we switched from KOLD to KMSB. When we came back, there were no more camera operators. And it was the strangest thing in the world to see these cameras that were mounted to the ceiling on posts that are all controlled via IP. And the host can actually do something with that as well. The graphics, the teleprompter, all of that. But there's no floor director anymore. There's no camera operator. It's all been brought into the booth. And then even the booth you look at, they have this great looking booth, but there's maybe 2 or 3 operators that are in there, and that's about it. So it's changed a lot. And I think we're going to continue to see those changes. Some people have said we're going to see eventually AI newscasters, which I don't know, because I'll be honest with you, when I see something AI, I tend to look away. I tend to not be interested in it.
Well, right. So, I mean, we've talked about this. I say this phrase a lot. We've talked about this on the show before. So maybe we're future predicting here. The uncanny valley, right? People are going to know, and it's all about consuming content, right?
Right.
Like the more content you consume, the more you get used to it. But I don't think people are going to understand when it's AI. People are going to hear AI. People are going to see it, and it's going to be off-putting. I don't think we're going to get there, especially in maybe in the smaller markets where there's not money to be made. But the larger markets like KSWB, Fox 5 San Diego, New York, LA, like those places, they're so rooted in community in those places. I doubt we'll see AI.
But in the smaller market stations, that could be a possibility, especially if mom and pops, you wonder if mom and pop stations would be adaptive to it. I don't know. I think it depends on the broadcaster. Like, this is a small station that we're on in here. The owners are very committed to being community oriented, very, very about being local. They do a lot of talk segments that are featured on that. And I don't think you can get that with AI delivery. Radio is going to be facing changes. And I think the changes will come faster to radio than they will with TV, because TV has 2 things to consider. It has audio and video, where radio is just basically just the audio portion of it. Now, when it comes to ATSC 3.0, that's been a big thing. Was that covered at this year's NAB?
Oh, sure. Yeah, it was. I mean, but to what extent? I mean, the future of television, right? It is what it is, but it's who's adopting it. Mm-hmm. Everybody's moving to it, but what station group in the U.S. is doing 4K? Nobody.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
I mean, it was interesting because we talked a little bit about this, because really the only reason to go 4K is just to say you can.
Yeah.
And NHK in Japan is 8K because they can, and they're nationally proud of it.
8K over the air?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
NHK in Japan is 8K over the air, and they're the only reason is because they can.
Yeah. Wow.
and they can say we're the first country to do it, and they're proud of that. But
Right.
there's no but who's watching it in 8K? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's Japan. Who could be everybody, but there's no reason to do 4K over the air yet. We're never probably going to go more higher than 1080p HDR
Right.
because there's no benefit beyond that for us. But I mean, some replay stuff maybe in 4K down the road, but that's UHD. I mean, you're running into a whole different level of how do you monitor that? How do you get it from point A to point B easily? There's a lot that goes into jumping from HD to Ultra HD.
All right. So who had the biggest booth at this year's 2025 National Association of Broadcasters show?
Probably Sony.
Sony, really? For, well, everything, right? Cameras, software.
They had everything.
Yeah.
Cameras from their still camera line all the way through their broadcast line, their switchers, their production, their broadcast line. It was wild how much their booth took up. When I walked through it with you, you'll see it.
Yep. Now, what about DJI? DJI has been one of those companies that is huge. DJI is enormous. Were they there because of some of the stuff they're going through now?
So they definitely there. They actually had a larger booth than I thought they were going to. They released their Ronin R5. I think it's the Ronin R5.
Right.
It's basically a really, really high quality camera built onto a gimbal. It's literally a all-in-one camera gimbal that you can mount cinema lenses to.
Oh, wow.
And it's battery powered. It's great. It's incredible looking, and it's been used on a bunch of feature films recently. So they were demoing that. They had their Osmo line there. They had their Action Cam line there, and they actually had their power banks there.
Oh,
Which we'll talk a little bit more about
Yeah.
that. But it was interesting how there were a lot of vendors that I saw that either had their own version of power banks or were powering their equipment with other vendors' power banks.
yeah.
Like, here, look at our remote kit. Look at our remote setup. Here, we're powering our whole booth off of lithium-ion batteries. So everybody has their own. The technology has gotten so much cheaper. Well, maybe not now with whatever's coming with tariffs and stuff, but it's approachable. It's you can get this for relatively inexpensive. That'll power all of your lights. It'll power your laptop. It'll power your camera. It'll power remotely. You don't have to have a generator that makes noise.
Right.
It's a fanless unit. It makes enough power for what we need, for what they need. So DJI, and I just heard people overheard people saying, I didn't know DJI made these. I didn't
Really?
know. Well, who knew?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not something it just kind of shadow dropped in the middle of the night one night. And, I bought one. I bought the 1000, whatever, the DJI Power 1000.
Right.
And it's been great. And once we're done talking about NAB and we come back from break, we'll talk a little bit more about specifically me using
And
that.
this is a good, and I'll tell you, we talked about it before the show. It's a good reason for people to get one. I have a power bank. It's not that one. It's the one from, I think it's Anchor. And I like it. It's okay. It's good. I kind of wish when I did the broadcast from town of Sahuarita, Fiesta Sahuarita, I wish I would have taken it with me because they brought me a gas powered generator. And I thought, I wonder if the generator I had, the electric one, would have been better, but I have a solar power connector. I could have just put up the solar panels. I probably would have been okay. Probably would have been, instead of using the gas powered one.
Yeah.
So yeah,
but I would say that you're going to see a lot more vendor specific battery packs. DJI, Small Rig, a handful of other companies I saw that were there. A lot of them. Some of them were doing some big ones too. Big.
Yeah.
Honking. I mean, on big wheels that are really heavy that you probably can't take on airplanes.
All right. So I'm wondering now. You mentioned the word tariff. Of course, there's been a lot of concern how that's going to affect the technology industry. There was a word that we're not going to see the tariffs on that, and then the next day we were told, no, somebody misspoke. We are going to see tariffs on some of the technology that's coming out of China and whatnot. But I'm wondering, did you see any U.S. manufacturers of drone products there at NAB? Because I mean,
the only drone stuff that I saw, I'm not saying this because I didn't look, right?
Yeah.
DJI didn't even have. I don't even think I saw any of their drone stuff out on the floor.
Oh,
There was
wow.
hardly any drone stuff at all
Right.
at NAB. I mean, I know that 4 or 5 years ago it was the only thing people could talk about was drones, how easy it is. But people have moved on from like, drones are cool, but yeah, they're a key piece. But I didn't see many other. There was some literature about them, but I didn't see any big booths that had this is all we do is drones or
Right.
that kind of thing. But the companies that we talked to, some of them did mention, well, we're going to have to, we're probably going to have to boost our prices by 20% for tariffs or,
Yeah.
Or, hey, we spun up, our research and development center in the U.S. is now where we're putting our pieces together. So it's
Yeah.
now assembled in the U.S. So you don't have to pay tariffs. And so that was a common topic among our vendors because we have a lot of Canadian vendors that work in the broadcast
that's right,
industry.
yeah.
So it's interesting to see where that's going to go, and that could jack up our price on the equipment by 20% potentially for certain things.
Now, you talked about that one gentleman you had met with the YouTube channel. Did you find there were a lot of influencers or internet companies that were there that want to create content for the web, and they would be using this kind of stuff? I mean, in the video that you can actually see in this video, there was even a car with all the camera mounts, and like you would see them making a big screen movie. They could do this stuff now. Creators can do this kind of stuff.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not just television anymore. It's not just broadcast. It's television, it's radio, it's broadcast, it's internet, it's cinema, it's everything that in terms of production. Like the production value for the internet is there. And, you had all the major parties involved. All Netflix, they were all there. They all had
Even
presence.
Netflix, really?
Yeah, so they all had a presence. So, I mean, Netflix is a major broadcasting platform now. Live sports have been on Netflix. The other big thing that was at NAB this year was cloud production. Like, everybody has a cloud solution.
Yeah.
And it makes sense that these companies are building cloud platforms because if you have a cloud platform or a cloud product, and this is my opinion on this, it's easier for you to get into their ecosystem. So let's say, like for us at Notre Dame, we use Ross Expression for our graphics packages, our score bugs, etc.
Right.
They offer a expression in the cloud package, meaning I can just pay Ross X amount of dollars for a license and then pay Amazon the price of the time that I'm using their instance online, right? So they're whatever their S3 bucket or whatever their E2 whatever the instance is called.
And you say Amazon, for our listeners who don't know, 'cause AWS. That's where
AWS, yeah. Whoever your cloud provider is. It
Yeah.
could be Azure, it could be AWS, it could be whatever. It's going to be easier for people to do smaller level productions at a scalable cost.
Right.
Meaning I could get expression level graphics on my show if I only need one graphic or two fonts or something, and I'm only spending, $1,000 or $1,500 or whatever it's going to be, instead of getting a $15,000 server and having a $10,000 license attached to it perpetually.
Yeah. All right.
So you're gonna be able to time gate yourself a little bit. You're gonna be able to bring costs down based on the volume of your production, but spin up more if you need it. So everyone has a cloud production. Everybody has some sort of cloud production service, which it's going to, in my opinion, it's going to go towards a SaaS model, software as a service model.
Yeah.
Meaning software will be available to you in the cloud. You pay for it to be installed on your Amazon web instance or Azure or whatever, and then you use it. And then when it's off, you don't pay for it. You could spin it up, you pay for it.
Right.
When it's off, you don't pay for it. So you're going to be able to get more money for your volume of content than if you just had hardware on-prem.
One of the big companies that has really gone deep into SaaS is Adobe. And, I've talked about my issues that I've had recently with Adobe, but were they there? Because they are putting out some really great products when it comes to the post-production process of whether it be photography or videography or even film.
Yeah, I mean, you had Blackmagic, Adobe, Avid, all the major partners, all the major players in that space were there showcasing their stuff. It was cool to be able to walk around, and you'd go over towards the Adobe booth, and they'd have an editor from a major movie picture giving a talk, showing their timeline on the screen and how they did it and how they used how they used AI, or how they, basically showing how they did things.
Oh, that had to be great to see.
And then they had workshops. I could have sat and done workshops on generative AI with Firefly and other things like that. So they're all there, and they're all pushing towards AI.
Yep.
And they're all going software as a service. I mean, that's just the way it is. And I don't foresee it ever going back to not that way, because they're just it's so much easier for them to push forward in terms of advancement in technology than say, we're going to gate this behind the newest version,
right?
And forcing you to pay for a new version. You can just pay X amount a month and get the most up to date and keep moving forward, and you can choose when you stop, and that kind of stuff. But
all right, so I have to ask: have you been to CES, the Consumer Electronics Show? All right, so you've been now to NAB. So now what we have to do is we have to plan for you to be able to go to CES in January. So that way you can kind of compare them and see which one kind of holds more interest for you, so you could check that out. Because either way,
I mean, I've followed CES, and I know you guys have been to CES, and the Consumer Electronics Show, it intrigues me because I'm a techie, but I don't care about robots. I don't care about vacuum robots and ring doorbells that are gonna shock the delivery guy when he doesn't deliver my package. I don't know. Like, it's stuff like that.
That's a good thought.
I like conferences, and everybody told me, it's like, oh, make sure you wear good shoes, and because you're going to walk a lot. I was like, it's not like I haven't been to conventions, right?
Yeah.
I just haven't been to broadcast. I've been to gaming conventions. I've been to other conventions. So it's like, I know I'm going to walk a lot, but
right. All right, so we got to take a break. So here's what we're going to do. For those watching the video, and you might want to jump in, check out the video. We're going to air the walkthrough that Sean did for the National Association of Broadcasters show. You could watch that. We'll come back on the radio with more of Tech Talk Radio. Matter of fact, if you've been thinking about getting one of those electric power banks, why you want to do that, Sean has a great example of that when we come back. I'm Andy Taylor.
I'm Sean DeWeerd. Find us on the web at TechtalkRadio.com. We'll be right back.
And now, back to Tech Talk Radio.
Before the break, Andy was mentioning that I was going to talk about my DJI power bank that I bought. We talked a little bit about, because I saw it. They were at NAB, and am I glad I bought it.
Now you got it. It was a push sale that just showed up in your inbox.
I got an email from DJI saying get up to 40% off or something.
Wow.
And then I saw that it was on sale on Amazon for like 30% off, and I was like, there's no way if I put this code in, it's going to give me more than that. And sure enough, I put the code in, and it dropped it down to like $3.99 or something. It was ridiculous. I got it for way cheaper than I should have. So it's the DJI Power Bank 1000.
Oh man, that thing's enormous.
It's pretty big, but it's got AC out, it's got DC out, and it's got the ability to plug into solar panels to charge it.
Is that a Buc-ee's sticker you have on the top of that?
Yeah, an Alienware sticker, a Buc-ee's sticker. We had a really bad storm come through central and northern Indiana beginning of the month.
Okay.
And we're watching it roll through, no big deal. And then, the lights just flickered. Uh-oh. And then the power's out.
Oh, man.
So most of our area, the greater South Bend area, didn't have power.
Right.
It was 4:00. It was a Sunday. It was 4:00 in the afternoon, right? It wasn't too bad. So we were like, okay, whatever. We weathered it out. It was like, oh, well, power's out. What are we going to do? You know? Then Max is like, I want to watch YouTube.
Oh, boy.
Oh, how are we going to do that?
Right.
Oh, it's getting dark. How do we got to turn some lights on. So I was like, oh, hey, let me run to the basement. So I ran into the basement, and I pulled this bad boy out.
Right.
And I plugged in a lamp to it. And then I was like, well, why don't my UPS is on. I have a UPS plugged into my internet.
Right.
So my internet never went out. So I was like, oh, I still have Wi-Fi. That's good. Because
Cool.
the cell phone service in our neighborhood stinks. So I was like, oh, I have Wi-Fi. I wonder how long the UPS will last.
Right.
So I plugged in one of my lamps to this, and I plugged in the power strip that fed my internet, and we had internet and a light in our living room.
Oh, cool. All right.
And it has a power draw meter on it, and those three things, the modem, the router, my TV, and the lamp, it said it was going to run like 19 hours.
Are you kidding me? 19 hours? Oh, that's great. I was thinking
So-
at tops, maybe 2 hours. No?
No, it gives you a power draw, and I think it was pulling something like 40 watts of power, maybe.
Right.
So and then I thought, well, I probably need to plug in my fridge.
Oh, there you go. Good eye.
So I ran an extension cord to this and powered my fridge.
Did it draw very much?
Oh, it drew a lot more, and then
Yeah.
it said, "Oh, you like about 10 hours or
Even
less."
still, that's good.
Yeah, and then at that point, once we knew we were going to be without power for more than 24 hours, I have a 3,500 watt inverter generator that I ran outside, turned it
Right.
on, ran the extension cord in the house, and powered the fridge and the freezer, and took the load off this from the fridge.
Right.
But this was great.
Could you
And-
charge now? Could you charge that at the same time off the 3,500 generator outside?
You sure can.
Oh.
And there's this fancy little switch on the front that
Right.
says 1,200 watts or 600 watts.
Ah.
Well, when I plugged it in, it was in the 1,200 watt mode. And boy, did my generator let me know it was pulling 1,200 watts.
Oh.
I plugged it into charge, and my generator it was like, whoa, hey, I gotta put more power out. Because then I looked, and then my the generator kicked into high mode because it was pulling 1,200 watts.
Right.
Just to charge this, let alone also run my fridge and the freezer. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna back that down a little bit. So I put it in the 600 watt mode, and it settled down a little bit.
Nice.
When we got power back, we were without power for we were over 48 hours. So we didn't have
wow.
power for 2 days. So when this was plugged into the generator, it charged, and then obviously when it was full, I just ran the pieces that I needed off just this. Cell phones. It's got USB-C on the front, so we plugged our cell phones into it, plugged our smartwatches into it overnight, but from like a 10% charge on this, when it was finally I needed to charge it once our power came back on,
Right.
this thing went from zero, like a 10 or 12% charge to full in like 35 minutes.
Wow. That's amazing.
It was
good.
crazy because it just yanks so much power out of the ether, and it was really great. So very happy with the DJI Power 1000.
How much? Now that was you got it for $399. What do they normally go for?
I don't know, like $700 or something. I'd
Wow.
have to look to see if they're going for Amazon right now. Let's look. Amazon. Let's see what she's got.
I know that in southern Arizona we deal with monsoons quite a bit, and we've had those situations where we've lost power for an extended period of time. This would be pretty good to have around. I mean, UPSs are great, but again, those are most UPSs are designed so that'll give you time to shut down your computer systems, so you don't have any data corruption or whatnot. This is a way to go beyond that and actually power your stuff.
Yeah, and you can obviously have it plugged into power and be feeding it off the AC side. So if you wanted to treat this as a UPS, you really could, and draw your power from the AC side while still plugged in and charging. I wouldn't recommend that. That's just going to
Yeah.
decrease the life of the battery. But they are $699.
That's still not bad. I mean, it's something to have. And the battery in that will continue to last. You just recharge it. It's not like disposable. Once it's done, it's done. No, that doesn't work that way.
Yeah, but what I also like too is on the side, I didn't notice before, but there are quarter 20
Right?
mounting holes here. So like I could mount tripod arms or other pieces on here. I could mount things on here with the quarter 20 mounts, like a RAM ball mount I could put an accessory on, or, so there are mounting options available quarter 20 on the side. So you can put,
Wow.
I don't even know what you want to mount on there, but like I can imagine like maybe mounting an umbrella or a holder for your phone or some other piece of hardware you'd want to mount to it. But
When it comes to the power banks, if you don't charge it, obviously you're not going to get a full charge out of it. When you do a full charge on it and you just put it aside and you're not using it, does it retain that, or over time does it tend to just dwindle up? We've seen some devices actually go pretty quick.
Well, so this is the newer chemistry, right? The lithium iron phosphate, lithium iron,
Right.
LiFePO 4.
Okay.
Lithium iron whatever it's called. LiFePO 4. You'll see. That's the newest kind of chemistry for these types of batteries, and that's what's in here, right? So
Wow.
I know that the chemistry is made to retain its charge better. It can have a higher amp draw on it, and it can also use more of the total capacity of the battery without having to be recharged. So,
Wow.
I just also, for my camper, just bought a new 100 amp hour battery for my 12 volt battery for the camper with the new solar charger, plus another 100 watt solar panel for that also, so that I can have that while we're camping in addition to this. So off the grid we go.
There you go.
Not really, but we're going to be able to survive a little bit without running the gas generator.
This was your first chance to really put it through the big trial, and you're very happy with that then.
Yeah, I mean, I just went and got it, turned it on, plugged in a lamp, and then ran an extension cord over to the UPS that was powering my internet router and my modem and my TV, and we had zero issues with staying connected and Max getting his YouTube fix.
That's great.
During the power outage. So
that's great because kids they need to be entertained.
But
Seriously,
it's funny because Max, we had to explain to him, like, the power's out, like YouTube doesn't work.
Yeah.
And the lights in his room didn't work. So like his moon nightlight wasn't working, the hatch wasn't working.
Oh man.
So like so it was a lot more quiet in his room. Like he didn't have the sound, the white noise machine.
Right.
So that like the next night that we had power, when he turned the light on in his room, he got excited. Oh, the power's back. Like he understood that we didn't have power and now it's back and the light works on power. So it was kind of a cool experience for him to see, like, power is required for a lot of the stuff that makes life convenient for us.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. I wanted to mention ZDNet, and Ed Bott has been on this show before. We had Ed on, early on Tech Talk Radio. And Ed talked about the deals. He's been talking about the deals with Windows 11 and Windows 10. There is a great article from Ed, if you go to ZDNet, about how to, if you can still do it, go from Windows 10 to Windows 11. Now, October is when support for Windows 10 will end. It does not mean your Windows 10 computer will stop working. There'll be a paid support version if you feel like doing that. But again, some people have said, well, I just want to upgrade my computer. If I could have upgraded my computer in the studio from 10 to 11 easily, I wouldn't have lost some software that I needed to do that. So right now, that Windows 11 machine I built, it's just sitting in the corner because I can't put the software on that to get it to work for what I need to do in here. But ZDNet also had a story this week about some of the problems that Microsoft is running into, and it makes you wonder what's going on there with a patch that they had put out, and it caused some problems.
Microsoft has been shooting himself in the foot.
Yeah.
First, it was the recall stuff with, hey, we're going to snapshot your computer every 2 minutes and upload it to the cloud.
Mm-hmm.
No, you're not. You're not doing that. Not to my computer. And then they had issues with USB devices in a recent patch, and now they're all claiming it's for security, but there's a new patch that came out for Windows 11 24H2 that created what they're calling a mysterious empty folder.
And the folder is called inetpub. I've seen it.
Yeah, and apparently that folder is there to spoof malware into trying to take control of this folder. I don't know.
Right.
But if you delete that folder because you don't know what it is and don't know where it came from, good luck with your future Windows updates, because could cause problems because it's looking for that folder. It doesn't know where that folder is, and who knows what problems you're going to start having.
Right.
It's like somebody telling you to go and delete your System32 folder.
Oh man, not good. Yeah, no.
Don't do that, by the way.
Yeah, please don't.
But yeah, it's just Windows. I mean, it's got to be hard to release software that is so massively consumed around the world,
Right.
in so many different languages, in so many different platforms, in so many different scenarios,
So many different pieces of hardware.
So many mission critical places. Right, you're never going to catch every little bug, but I mean, come on, it's unacceptable things like the USB driver issues, where if you upgrade it and all of a sudden you just don't have USB, your USB devices aren't going to work anymore.
Our shared folders that we have from one office to another, they went away once we went to Windows 11. So yeah,
I mean, I just don't know. And then Microsoft telling you, oh yeah, by the way, you are not going to be able to create a Windows. You're not going to be able to install Windows anymore without creating an account. And you can't use the super secret code to bypass the login anymore. You have to.
Yeah.
You have to create an account with Microsoft to install Windows, which is a bunch of BS in my opinion.
Yeah.
And because I just talked about this building the PC for my in-laws, their laptop, and the code didn't work. So maybe I got an early version of that where that code didn't work anymore, and I had to build him a profile using his Hotmail or his Gmail account through Microsoft. And then it created them having the OneDrive desktop, and then he put all his files on there. And it said it was out of space.
That was a mess, yeah.
It was a mess. So, just give me an operating system. Let me decide what I want to do.
Yeah.
I paid for it. I paid for Windows. I'm not saying this because I got a free upgrade to Windows 11. I've paid for 2 Windows 11 Pro versions now.
Yep.
Because I want one. I have one on my play around machine, and I have one on my gaming laptop, on my gaming PC. I want to have the features that are included with Windows 11 Pro. But dear God, make it a little easier for me to do what I want to do without having to sign up and give you all my data. Yeah. I don't care. I'm paying you.
Yeah, exactly. All right, listen, we got to take another break. We come back with more of Tech Talk Radio. We got more stuff. We have listener email, and we love to be able to answer your questions for you. So we'll get to those questions coming up with more of Tech Talk Radio. I'm Andy Taylor.
I'm Sean DeWeerd. Find us on Facebook at Tech Talkers.
We'll be right back.
Now, back to Tech Talk Radio.
Hey, everybody out there in Radio Land, this is James Young from the rock band Styx. If you are technically challenged, if you got trouble with that computer of yours, because Lord knows I do, you need to listen to Tech Talk Radio.
Thanks for your help, and keep up the good work. You got a great show.
Okay, so listener email. We love this when you want to send us a question. You could drop us an email anytime. Just techguys, TechGuys, at techtalkradio.com, or you can reach out to us on our Facebook page as well. You'll find us on the facebook.com/Tech Talkers. So this one from Christy in Tucson said, hey guys, I listen to your show whenever I can, but I just got an email about renewing my antivirus program, Norton 360. It's $119 to renew and protect my 5 machines. Thinking, is it worth it? What could be my options? Thank you. Christy in Tucson. Oh boy. This one, I think we've kind of talked a little bit about this in the past, because I know you have different views of what might be better than Norton.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've used different antiviruses over the years, right?
Yeah.
And it's not always been just antivirus, right? It's also been anti-malware, right? First it was antivirus, because nobody really knew what malware was, right?
Yeah.
You had Trojan horses, you had virus attacks, and those types of things. So everybody either had Norton, McAfee, Kaspersky,
ESET, yeah.
ESET. They all do their job.
Yeah.
But in the age of security, Windows has gotten a lot better. And I would recommend, and I think Justin and Matt would speak for this, and they're both IT professionals, you can really be secure without spending money just running Windows Defender. I mean, obviously don't go in and turn your firewall off and allow every port to be able to be scanned on your computer and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
By default, a lot of that is turned off. By default, they're protecting the users that don't know any better. But that doesn't mean run unprotected and, go surfing around the web unprotected.
Yeah.
My recommendation is, if you want a little extra protection, is you get Malwarebytes. Malwarebytes is a malware program that will run and scan and do things. And it's run at the enterprise level in a lot of places.
Yeah.
So not just personal level. And so I run Malwarebytes, and it protects my PC.
We've even had it come up. You go to a website that's a legitimate website. They're feeding an ad, and the ad has malware features in that ad. Malwarebytes will flag it, and it does a good job. So yeah.
I'm looking to see what Malwarebytes would be to include multiple devices.
Right. Yeah, that's the thing. Norton's deal, and I'm on Norton. Norton's deal is 5 machines. I know that for a fact. And yeah, it is about $119 to renew it. One thing about Norton 360, if it's been a good antivirus program, but it's very naggy. So you pop in an expanded drive, it wants to search it for you. You get pop-ups all the time about, would you like to do this? Would you like to do that? It will try to sell you add-ons like LifeLock, which Symantec Norton owns. So it'll try and, sell you for a membership in that to protect yourself for that information and get out there on the web. Again, I'm not saying it's a bad program. We've had representatives on the show. I like it, but there are other options. Now, what were you able to find out?
So I have the standard plan for Malwarebytes,
Right.
And it's just one device. So I'm only running it on just my PC. I thought I was running it on more, but just one.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I pay like $6 a month.
That's not bad. Yeah.
If I wanted to do so, I just bumped it up to the Plus plan with 5 devices, so that would equal what she has for her Norton, and it's $16.28 a month for 5 devices. That gives you the security, the browser guard, which runs in the background, basically looks at ads and all that stuff.
So it's actually more expensive than the Norton 360 for the 5.
Yeah, but then it also gives you the VPN. I don't know if the Norton 360 gives you the Norton VPN.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's apples to apples at this point. I just know that Norton does not always have the best reputation in the industry. It's good. Like I said, I prefer Malwarebytes just because that's what I'm used to. It's what we use at the university. It's what I've used at other places I've worked. There are plenty of options out there, right? Just try to avoid the free ones.
Yeah. Yeah.
Try to avoid getting Avast for free.
Avast. What was the other? There was another one that began with an A. I can't remember the name of it.
I can't remember either, but yeah, just try to avoid the free ones because they'll try and hook you into, well, just scan your PC and pay $5.99 a month
right.
And I still personally like running CCleaner.
Yeah, I've heard different things about that. Where some people say CC Cleaner is great, others will say it created a nightmare.
I have not had any issues with it. I use it just to do registry cleanup and they have a really great uninstallation tool in their program where you can just uninstall programs really quickly through that. I mean, you can do that now with Windows. It's gotten better in Windows before, where you had to try and find all the install files and stuff.
Some of these companies, though, will put a lot of files in different places. And from what I've heard, CC Cleaner can go in there and do that.
But I will say that CC Cleaner has not had the greatest security record. Mm-hmm. This has probably been about 6 or 7 years now. They actually delivered a update to CC Cleaner.
Oh yeah,
that was malware.
Yeah, yeah.
A Iranian hacker team was able to get into the back end and attach malware to the install file for CCleaner. So everybody that did the update, that version of CCleaner got malware.
Not good.
So
all right,
not good for a security company. But
so for Christy, you recommend Malwarebytes as one to look at?
Yeah, Malwarebytes. And then if you really want to do a deep scan or a deep dive on your machine, Spybot Search and Destroy is a good one. Just avoid the free ones. I mean, you could pay for Norton. It's going to be, like I said, 6 one way, half a dozen the other. If you're still using Norton and you're comfortable with that, it's already on your devices, go with Norton. It's not going to hurt anything.
All right.
Malwarebytes is just kind of another alternative.
You want to pick that next question that we got?
The next question
Yep.
is,
Okay.
this is a fun one.
All right.
I found a folder on my computer that had everything, that had a bunch of Flash videos.
Flash videos.
When I click on them, I can't do anything because I no longer have Flash on my computer.
Oh, okay.
Is there a way to see these?
That's FLVs, right? Isn't that?
Good question, Bill Chandler from Arizona.
No, it's actually Bill from Chandler out of Arizona.
Bill from Chandler, Arizona.
Thank you, Bill. Sorry.
Grammar is important. When you put this in there, Andy, it looks like Bill Chandler from Arizona.
Yes. So Flash videos, FLVs. Yeah, Flash was big. It was one time everything. You went to a website. If it didn't have Flash, it was a letdown. If it had Flash, it was ooh. But then they found out there were a lot of problems with Flash. And people moved to WordPress or that type of technology. You know, Flash, you go to a website now, and if it, you still see, you might see a placeholder. It said, you know, Flash, and you're, oh boy, that needs an update. What do you do? How do you watch a Flash video on your computer?
You'd have to convert them.
Yeah.
I mean, so I'll recommend my handy dandy web tool.
Right.
Handbrake.
Handbrake. Ooh, will Handbrake do that?
FR.
Right.
Handbrake can convert Flash videos.
All right.
You can probably find a lot of free converters online for Flash videos.
How about VLC?
VLC
That might just play them. It may not convert them.
Yeah, it may not play them. Yeah. VLC is probably the best media player in the world.
All right.
It's free. Download it. It'll play literally anything you give it.
Just be careful where you get it from. But VLC
yes,
is
make sure you get
good.
it from their website.
All right. We got to take another quick break.
You should be
right.
able to see it on one of those.
All right, Bill Chandler or Bill from Chandler, Arizona. Hopefully that helped you. But take a look at VLC if you want to convert them. I know Movavi does that. Handbrake is great because that's a free one. And then you may be able to go a little deeper into Handbrake and find out how to maybe rip your DVDs that you own, that you can have digital copies of them. It's a great way to use that program. All right, we'll be back with more of Tech Talk Radio. I'm Andy Taylor.
I'm Sean DeWeird. Follow us on X at Tech Talk Radio.
We'll be right back. On television this past week, I got a chance to share something really cool. The slim, small design keyboard from Logitech called the Keys to Go 2. It connects to your smartphone, whether it be an Android or an iPhone, your laptop, your desktop, your any device that can accept a Bluetooth connection keyboard, and it can be folded and stored away. Matter of fact, it's small enough that you could fold it and put it in your jacket pocket, your inside jacket pocket. So when you need a keyboard, you've got it. The only thing is some people have said, well, wait a minute, it retails for about $79, but the K480 from Logitech is cheaper. You may be able to find that for around $45, $50. And they both have Bluetooth. They both have a selector switch, so you can switch it from Bluetooth 1, 2, or 3. So say you've got your smartphone in front of you, you got a tablet. You want to control the tablet, you just flip the switch, and you can control the tablet. Flip it to the other one, you can control your smartphone. Now, your smartphone will work good on that. If you're using Google Docs or something along that line, you want to type, or you're using, your notes in your iPhone. Either way, you might take a look at it if you haven't seen it yet. Again, that's from Logitech, the Keys to Go 2. Pretty good stuff. I don't know. I like the K480 because it's got a little rest there, but that's what I showed on TV. I also showed it connected to a monitor, and we used a J5 Create. It's an HDMI USB-C off my Android device to actually put our smartphone away and use a bigger monitor, use that keyboard, and it was actually a pretty cool thing. So
I mean, I didn't know about this, so I just looked it up. It's pretty cool. It's tiny.
It's really small, and it's got a cover on it, so you could close it up, and again, put it in your laptop bag or put it into your jacket pocket if you're wearing a jacket pocket, or your purse.
There's some different colors you can get.
Yeah,
which is cool.
Yeah, it's neat stuff.
This would be great, like if you're traveling and you have a laptop and you don't want to use the laptop keyboard. Graphite, pale gray, and lilac.
There you go. Well, you can find out more at Logitech.com. That wraps it up for this week's Tech Talk Radio. Thank you for tuning in. Tell your friends about it, that they can see us on the web at TechtalkRadio.com. I'm Andy Taylor.
I'm Sean DeWeird. You can find us on the web, like Andy said, at TechtalkRadio.com.
Thank
and,
you.
we'll talk to you next week.
All right, take care.